Welcome to South Florida Saltwater Fishing. I'm Heath, and it's time to get into the bite. Dolphin in the boat. Oh my God. Woo! Solo Kingfish trip right there. Step down. That's a beast right there.
Let's do this.
That's mutton snapper right there, baby.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this.
All right, folks, we're rigging up and we're heading towards the end. The idea for today is we're gonna do some planer trolling with a no alibi white trolling feather. We're gonna hit up that shallow ledge and that deep ledge of the reefs. See if we can get into that bite and hopefully bring home some food to the family. Before we get into this though, if you wanna learn more about fishing, grow as an angler, or just see some great and exciting offshore fishing adventures, you can start by hitting the subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you won't miss a thing. All right, folks, it's starting out to be a beautiful morning. Got pretty much no breeze going on. A little cloudy out here, some storms heading from the south. Fairly good fishing conditions for whatever we want to try and get going on. You know what that means. We'll see you out on the water. All right, folks, we headed out of Boca Raton Inlet this morning. The idea is we're gonna hit the deep ledges of the first, second, and third reef, pull around what I consider to be the fundamental trolling setup for the southeast coast of Florida. What that is we're gonna do one line planer trolling and we're gonna have one line up on top. And the lures that we're gonna be using is gonna be the no alibi white trolling feather, the 2-ounce feather rigged up with a double 8/0 hooks. And we're gonna have about 12 to 16 inches of number 4 40-pound wire as a leader. Again, we're gonna be trolling the reef, so we want a little bit of protection for our gear because there are toothy critters everywhere. What we're gonna be using for our planer trolling setup is this Penn International 30 spooled with 80-pound braid. On the business end of it, we are going to have a 300-pound barrel swivel. And the rod that the planer trolling setup is on is a 7-foot Chaos rod with all roller guides for trolling. And for our top water setup, we're gonna use this medium to light trolling gear, 15 to 30-pound class. This is a Penn International 12H. It's an old school reel, spooled with 20-pound pink monofilament. And on that, we've also got our white trolling feather. Again, same setup, about 12 to 18 inches of wire leader. No swivel attachment right here, as you can see, tied directly onto my main line, and 2 double 8/0 tandem hook setup. The rod that this is on is a 7-foot star rod from the handcrafted series. Again, it's 15 to 30-pound class, light to medium action. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of explaining on planer trolling setup, and then we're gonna get up and roll and see if we can get into the bite. So what we've got, of course, is our 300-pound swivel, like I said, attached to our 80-pound braid. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hook it up to our planer. You're gonna hook the main line of your reel up to the ring of your planer. Next thing we've got is a leader. This leader is 60-pound monofilament, 100 feet of it, and we have swivels on both sides of it. On the planer side, I also have another 300-pound snap swivel with a coast lock. We will take that swivel and we're gonna put it into a little eyelet on the plate of the planer. This is very important that you set up your planer this way, otherwise it won't function properly. So what happens is your lure's out here, your main line's out here, and when a fish hits, it pulls the lure, trips the planer, and it lets it rise up to the top so that you can reel it in without having the pressure of the planer on your reel as you're reeling in. And the final step is to take our last swivel, which is on the business end of our leader, and this one is a size 7 swivel. And we're simply gonna hook that swivel to our lure, which is the 2-ounce no alibi white trolling feather. And the last thing I like to do for my planer trolling setup is I like to hook on a bonita strip. Gives it a little bit of flavor, a little bit of pizzazz. So what we'll do is we're gonna take our double 8/0 tandem hook setup and we will line it up. Lead hook at the tip of the bonita strip, trailer hook right about in the middle. Hook in your trailer hook first through the meat side, then you'll sort of make your lead hook perpendicular, Send that again through the meat side, through the skin. Get that to pop out. And there you go. Your lure's up and ready to roll. We're gonna get underway, plop these goodies in the water and see if we can get into the bite. Currently sitting in right around 140 feet, 139, 140. We're gonna head in a little shallower to about 100, and then we're gonna make smooth S-shaped curves in and out of these deep ledges of these reefs. We're gonna head all the way out to about 350, 400. We're gonna see if we can find some fish somewhere, hopefully keep on the bite if we find where they're actively feeding. All right, so let's get on into this. All right, so when you're doing this basic Southeast Florida trolling setup, you're gonna wanna let out your planer first. So to let out your planer is very simple. Simply going to cross your lure over and you're going to let your leader unravel from your yo-yo. All 100 feet of it. Alright, leader is unraveled. Now once your leader is unraveled, you're going to drop in your planer, put your rod in free spool. Now when you're letting out your line on a planer, you have to understand you don't have to let out several hundred feet. You already have a 100-foot leader. So you want to let out about maybe 100 feet, maybe 125. Get it out there about 200 feet or so total length. What this does is it gets your bait far away from the boat, and it also gets your main line down far enough so that your planer can dive down to the proper depth. The number 6 planer, which is what I'm using, will dive down to about 40 to 50 feet when trolled at about 6 to 8 knots, which is what we're going to do. Once you've let out enough of your main line, you're going to keep letting out some. Using braid can be tricky. If you don't let out the right amount of line, your lure can put resistance on it and it can trip it automatically. So you want to let your line go a little slack. Make sure your planer's diving down. Lock up your reel and put it in slow forward. And once you do this, you'll see your rod bend over like this. That means your planer is set. It's trolling properly. If your rod is not bent over like this, your planer's not set, you got to go ahead and retry, let out some more line, reset it, and let it get it so that it's set and it's pulling properly. All right, so we got our planer trolling set up and rolling. What we're going to do is we're going to curve into it so we'll kick our line out. That way we can let out our top water trolling setup. All right. So we're going to slowly curve to it. You don't need to make sharp curves when you're doing this. As we see our line going out that way, we're going to let out the top water lure, get it up and rolling. Now again, this is our top water lure. This is going to be a short line. We're only going to let this guy out about 100, maybe 125 feet. The way you know about letting your line out and what distance it's going is if you're doing about 5 knots, 1 second equals about 10 feet of line. So if you're looking to let it out 100 feet and you're doing 5 knots, you let it out about 10 seconds, you're good to go. All right, so we've got our top water lure set out far enough. We'll set our drag, put our click on. We're good to go, we're set up. All right, we're up and rolling. We're heading towards the east, heading out a little deeper. Currently right around 160 feet. Marking some stuff on the bottom, which is good. We've got our planer trolling set up, ready, good to go, set. Again, if you don't see that parabolic bend in that rod, planer's not set. You got to start over. And we've got our top water trolling setup going on. Penn 12H. Both lures are the 2-ounce no alibi white trolling feather. Again, we're going to be doing between 6 and 8 knots with these lures because we're trolling. Trolling in its essence is the pursuit of actively hunting fish. Don't ever forget that when you're trolling. You don't want to give fish a chance to run up and examine your bait. You want them to act on the impulse to feed and strike immediately. These are hunting fish. These are not fish at rest. And we're hooked up. On the top water lure, good to go. Hooked up, we're gonna keep our boat in slow forward because we got a planer out. We're just going to put the brakes on him on a little bit. See if we can get him into the boat. Still wanting to peel out a little bit. See what we got. We're at about 150 feet when we hit this fish. Like I said, we got the planer out, so we got to be careful not to cross our lines. See what we got when we get him off the boat. There you go, starting to put some head shakes. Starting to take a little bit of a run. I see him right up here up the side of the boat. And we're looking like false albacore. Good to go. Nice first fishing today. Good false albacore. Fish in the boat. All right, nice first fish. About 5, 6, 7 pound bonita, also known as false albacore. There we go. All right, we're gonna let him go. Send him back. Nice healthy fish, nice and fresh still. Get back up to our trolling. Great first fish. All right, so nice first fish. About a 5, maybe 6 pound false albacore. If you're trolling around in late summer off Southeast Florida and you don't catch one, wow, you gotta be the luckiest angler out here. Great first hookup. We're swooping back in. We're back up trolling. Gonna see if we can, you know, have a little bit more fun. Maybe get another false albacore. Maybe, you know, something else will bite us. But we're back up and at it. So while we're trolling along, waiting for a bite, I want to explain this fundamental Southeast Florida coast trolling setup. You're gonna want to learn how to do it. Get out a planer and get out some top water. What you're doing is you're covering the water column. You're looking for fish up on top and you're looking for fish down somewhere in between, you know, 50 feet, 30 feet, whatever the size planer or deep diving lure you're using might go to. It covers not only a lot of top ground, but multi-layers of it as you're traveling along. So believe it or not, it actually doubles the amount of ground that you're covering at one time. You're gonna wanna learn to fish like this, whether you're fishing solo or whether you got, you know, friends, colleagues, family on the boat. This is a very productive way to find fish. So, and another thing I want to talk about is finding the spots to fish in. A lot of times when you're trolling, you're not going to mark fish on your fish finder. You have to trust what your GPS is saying. You have to look at your contour lines. And you can also kind of use your fish finder as a guide. But you got to remember, the fish finder can be false because you're underway. It can read a ledge and make a ledge look steeper than it actually is, simply because you're traveling faster over it. So if I'm using my GPS and I want to find a deep ledge or the reef, what I got to do is I got to pay attention to my contour lines. Those are the little lines that you know, dictate what your ground looks like. Contour lines, when they're spread further apart, means your ground is at less of an incline. Contour lines that are packed more closely together means you have more of an ascent or a descent on the sea bottom, what you're going over. So that's the sort of stuff you want to look for when you're way offshore trolling and there's no reef structure to go by. And our planer just tripped, so we're going to reel out what they call these little guys, you know, about 5 pounds, 6 pounds maybe, but great on the dinner table. These are my favorites, these little kingfish. They're juicy, they're not very fishy, they haven't eaten, you know, thousands of pounds of fish, and they don't taste like what they're eating. But we're definitely going home with dinner tonight. All right, so we're back up trolling after that nice little kingfish. Just want to explain to you, you know, these white trolling feathers. They are great lures, they're inexpensive. They're from the company No Alibi. I mean, I buy 5 of them at a time. They're about $3.50 each. Super versatile. You can catch fish anywhere from in over a reef like this to kingfish and false albacore to way out deep. You know, you're gonna get billfish, mahi, and tuna on them also. They're not just a tunnel vision lure. They catch the spectrum of fish, which is the great thing about them. And like we're showing you right now, you know, you can fish the whole water column, which essentially helps you double, if not triple, the amount of ground you are physically covering at one time. So what we figured out is that the fish aren't hitting out deep, and they're not hitting it in shallow, like that 90 to 120 range. They're hitting it around the 150 to 180 foot range. So we've dialed in on that, you know, depth zone. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hang out simply between about $1.30 and $1.80 and see if we can continue getting into the bite. Good sign. You actually feel that fish. You know you don't got a short strike. And again, this is just showing you, you know, that white trolling feather. Oh, I see him out there up on top, which is good. He's up on top. So we'll see if what's going to happen if he dives back down. Oh, he's trying to take a run for it. Good to go. That's why you keep that boat forward. Pull that fish towards you. There we go. I see him out on top, man. He's a good fish. Let's see what we got once we get him up in the boat. They're dragging him. Dragging him real good. Alright, here's my planer. I see him out there. He's 100 feet out once I get up to my plane. There we go. This is my favorite part of planer trolling. The old school style, or the original style, which is hand lining in. Not a wind-on leader. It's not hooked up to an independent planer, hooked up to a fleet or a separate rod. I like this hand lining in, you know, for fighting a fish like this. It's fun to me. Also very basic, you know, it keeps the concept basic, simple, down to earth. If he wants to run, I'm going to let him run, of course. That's the thing about hand lining these fish in. You know, you can feel exactly what they're doing. And there he goes. He wants to take a little bit of a run, and not too much. Looking like it's going to be a nice kingfish. Still got a lot of fight in it. Take it easy. Get him up in the boat. See what he's going to want to do. He's got some leader in his mouth, which will be good. I'm going to have to take out my leader, but that's alright. We got a nice, solid team right here. I'm having to gap it. There we go. Kingfish in the boat. Look at that bad boy right there. Solid kingfish on the No Alibi white trolling center. All right, we're gonna get downloaded. All right, folks, I want to talk a little bit about what happened today. We left the inlet this morning with a game plan. We said, hey, we're gonna go hit these deep ledges of the reef, trolling the white feathers from No Alibi. Had some epic hookups. Caught a nice false albacore, and we caught 2 kingfish. 1 little snake, 1 nice size 15 or so pound juvenile. We are definitely going home with dinner, and we're gonna enjoy it. So what I'm trying to show the point of here is that the white trolling feather is definitely an ultra effective, versatile, and resilient lure that will get you into the bite, whether you're trolling it up shallow in the reef, you know, 50, 60 feet, or you're way out deep, 300 feet, maybe even further out into the stream. You can take this bad boy 20 miles offshore, like I said, and get into that hookup with those mahi. But today we proved its versatility. You know, it got into the bite with the false albacore, the king mackerel. Like I said, dinner on the table. Cannot beat that. A most epic fishing day. All right, folks, that about does it for this episode. Hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed. And I hope you learned a little bit about trolling, whether it's planer trolling or topwater trolling with the white feather trolling lure from No Alibi. Till next time, South Florida Saltwater Fishing. Going wherever the cool wind takes us.